Crostini two ways. I'm in my garden, beautiful, doing some crostini. Crostini are easy and a great way to sort of entertain when you have people coming and visiting. Crostini needs toasted bread, a nice country bread. And you go right into a pan like that. And this is how do you weigh down your bread so it really makes full contact with the pan and gets nice and brown. With another pan, a little smaller, just on top of it. So a little bit of oil. I toasted it on one side, and let's get the other side going now. In the meantime, I am going to make a topping for one crostini, and that's gonna be with bacon. Let me just cut it in small lardoons, if you will. So could you do it without bacon if you don't want bacon? Absolutely. Just keep in mind that we're finishing off with cheese, with Fontina cheese and with ricotta cheese. So just a drop of oil to get things going. Okay. And kale, onions, and bacon. That sounds pretty good, and it's easy. Again, you know, you can use other greens. You can use escarole. You can use broccoli di rape. You can use spinach. You can use everything. Kale, it's great. It's, you know, very nutritious for you. Pull it right off the stem, just like that, and voila. Shred it. And, you know, you can do this just as a vegetable. Okay. You can do it just with oil and garlic and smother it. So the bacon is nice and caramelized. Let's remove some of the fat. We'll leave just a little bit because we have to cook the kale, the onion. So let me throw in the onion. Let that get wilted. And so now let's throw in the kale. Okay. Okay. I will season it a little bit with salt. Now the bacon has some salt, so keep that in mind. A little peperoncino. We want a little bit of spiciness. Okay. And just a little bit of water to begin to wilt this. I am going to cover it so it can raise the temperature so it cooks quicker. So the next crostini we have is as simple as it gets. And especially in the summertime when you have the ripe cherry tomatoes, the cranberry tomatoes, whatever you have that's nice, cut it in quarters because I want it to stay on the crostino itself. Just like that. Here we go. And I'm gonna add to that some capers. And it's delicious. It has kind of that almondy flavor. So it's great with seafood, and it's great on crostini because it brings you that extra dimension. Tomatoes, capers, like that. So here, let me get some basil. Okay. And I don't want it over chop the basil either. Put a little bit of salt and oil. So we're almost ready to assemble our first crostino, and 6 of each, and that'll be fine. I kind of like how it looks, just like a salad on bread. And if you feel that these are gonna fall off, you can chop them smaller. I kind of like this look. And once you let them sort of rest there, they will seep into the bread, the juiciness. So just take a dollop of ricotta and put it right on top of, let's check these, the kale. Let me just wilt it down like that. Lower it a little bit. So. Okay. So this is one crostino. Let me now finish this other crostino. And I have here some Fontina cheese, which will go on top. So in the pan, while the bread is almost toasted on the bottom, I'm gonna top it with Fontina cheese. And the Fontina cheese should melt on top, right in the pan. The heat of the pan will melt the Fontina cheese, and we'll have a great crostino. Okay, this is good. Let me put a cover on so that the heat really melts the cheese. Let me clean up here, and then we'll be ready to plate. Welcome back to my little library. This is where we share a lot of my knowledge with your questions. Here I have Shari and Karen.
We were looking at one of your books, and we found a recipe that we would like to try, but we have a couple questions about it.
The bruschetta with prosciutto and figs, and it looks amazing. But in order to cut down on sugar, we were wondering if we could eliminate the honey from the balsamic reduction.
Additionally, we would like a recommendation to go with it with wine.
Thanks, Lydia.
Thank you.
Ah, right. The bruschetta is quite easy, the fig bruschetta and prosciutto. And yes, absolutely, you can eliminate the honey. What you would need to do most likely is just to cook it a little longer so it gets nice and syrupy. Honey usually emulsifies things and ties things and makes them viscous. In this case, just cook it a little longer. And I think the wine that goes really good with that is the Friulano. It is light, at the same time complex. It has an almond finish, and it has a nice acidity, and would pair beautifully with this bruschetta. Have fun, ladies. Have a good wine to go with that bruschetta. Okay? Great. All right, these crostinis are done. I have some fig leaves. In Lydia's garden, it's very much like Italy. The grape trestle and figs. And my grandmother, whenever she would serve cheese or something, she would have a board, and if the board was the board that she chopped everything on, she would cover it with fig leaves like that, or grape leaves for that matter, and that looks pretty nice. So if you have some good leaves in your garden, make it happen. So here it is. All right, look at this. Three. Nestles these in right here like that. And maybe this one I'll put right in the middle like that, and that looks nice. I'm gonna accent on the basil right here. Now, let's, Lydia, kind of cut these and taste them. The kale crostino. Delizioso. That's pronounced, and the bacon and the onions and everything, and that this should be refreshed. These are two great recipes, easy to make. Get the Lydia flavor in your house.